take a frozen roast and you put it in the oven at maybe 200 degrees, 125 degrees, whatever it was at all day long, that's the best way to get the type of food poison that can kill you.
Food poison, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's the closest I ever came to dying.
Well, my girlfriend, I've known her for 13 years, kind of on and off. She's about maybe 20 years older than me. And our romantic life was great for a long time until I got the lung thing. Things just kind of went down, but the part where am I trying to get to? I totally had amnesia here. But sometimes in life, when things change and when things get harder for people, you got to go with the flow of life, I find. You find that too?
Oh, yeah. I mean, each day is a challenge. I never know how the day's going to be or how, how it's going to end up. My wife is still working one, retired. But, I think she realized, even doing this show, I probably spend 10 to 12 hours a day preparing for the show, booking guests for the show, working with somebody also as my producer part-time, going through, potential guests and all that stuff. And I mean, I probably put more effort into this than anything I've ever done in my life.
But it keeps you alive, it sounds like. I mean, you have freedom within your show and you have your creativity to be yourself. Oh,
yeah. Because, I mean, right now, I was offered to go on in January, the 15th of January, to go on a network with 300 radio stations. But then I decided, I thought about it for a couple of days. I don't want to do that, because I would give up picking out the guests, the type of guests, how I'd actually run my show, and all this stuff would be done by somebody else. All I'm going to do is be nothing more than just behind the microphone and asking questions. And that didn't appeal to me.
No, you want the creative control. I mean, I have a friend, his name is Bertie Higgins. You know who he is, right?
It sounds familiar, yes.
Sings Key Largo.
Okay.
Anyways, he's a good singer, well-known, but he's done everything himself because of what you're talking about. Because if you don't do it on your own and you start having somebody else take over, they own you.
Oh, yeah.
And your freedom's gone.
Yeah, that's what, Art, when we had one of our talks, he told me that's why he went to internet radio himself, because he was tired of, being with networks, being lied to, and then losing your control of your own show, And the whole point of this is I enjoy it. It's a way to release energy. It makes me feel like I'm still accomplishing something. And, and a lot of people don't realize I do virtually all this in my studio by myself. I don't have an engineer. Like when I was in commercial radio, I always had an engineer, through the glass window doing a lot of the stuff. And I had all these other people doing other stuff. All I did was my talk shows. And I didn't have to worry about anything. I do everything now from, the bumper music to, calling you and getting you on. I do all this and I enjoy it. It gives me something to look for in my old age.
You're still young too, in your body and spirit, which is good because you don't put limitations on yourself when you're on radio.
Oh no, I don't, and I get some good, interesting guests on, and I'm just still kind of curious how many people are planted out in the desert near Las Vegas. But anyway, I mean, I'm willing to bet it's in the thousands.
I wonder. I bet you all the money is gone. That's why you can't find them with any kind of metal detector.
No, I mean, from that movie, it scared me. They stripped them down to their underwear, and then they, or worse, and made them, get in the hole. This is, yeah.
Well, that one movie, it was called. I think one was called Casino. And I had a small part in it. And
really?
The way I got it was strange.
Well, how did you get it?
Well, here I am. Probably, I don't know exactly what year it was. Sometime in the 1990s. and it was at this bar called Cafe Michelle's, and it was off of Maryland Parkway. I'm sorry, it was off of Tropicana, somewhere near this little, had a little mall like Stater Brothers, and then it had a real nice Italian restaurant there, and all the movie stars would go there. And one night, when I was all dressed up, doing my dance stuff, I walked in there, and first guy I saw was Dion from the Belmonts. He was sitting there.
Oh, wow.
He had two women, real cute ones, and these girls were strippers. And at the time, I had my fingernails painted for my show, for my dance. They were painted like half black, half red, gold stripes and silver polka dots. And I'm not gay. I'm just weird, that's all.
Okay. Okay,
So
guys. Guys out there, he's not gay. He's just weird. We already figured that out for the last hour. Go ahead.
So I walk into the bar, and I see Robert De Niro sitting there at the table eating his spaghetti. I got excited. I wanted to go introduce myself. Well, I started to walk up to him, and then he was sitting at the table with two other gentlemen. And I didn't realize at first who they were, but I kind of leaned on them. These two gentlemen that were sitting at the table, I kind of leaned against them and said, "Excuse me, gentlemen, I need to talk to the real star here." And he got up, had a mouthful of spaghetti, and it was dripping down his shirt. And he goes, "Thank you so much for coming here." And then the other two gentlemen looked at me, and it was Martin Scorsese and Joe Pesci. And my mouth dropped. I go, "Oh, shit." I go, "Sorry, guys." And then Martin Scorsese laughed. He had a good sense of humor. He goes, "What's your name?" I said, "Richard." He goes, "Would you like to be in our film that we're filming?" I go, "I'd love to." He goes, "Here's my card. Be there at this place tomorrow. We're going to be at the courthouse." And so I got a small little part in the courtroom.
Oh, wow.
And from that, the day they shot the courtroom, I still had my stupid fingernails painted. And they had to stop all the shooting they did for that whole hour because of my fingernails. So I get a call back to the production room to go talk to Mr. Scorsese. And here I am, going back to the room, telling him that I'm sorry, I didn't mean, to do that. I go, "How can I make it up to you?" I go, "Can I give you a massage?" And he thinks about it. I go, "Well, I'm a massage therapist. I work here right now, and I could..." He goes, "Okay, I would love that." And I just turned away and walked out because I was so nervous. Sometimes we don't pay attention to what we do because of stress. And we miss opportunities because of that kind of stuff.
So did they cut you out of the film, or they left it in with your painted fingernails?
No, they cut that part out of the film. I had a very, very short, quick part, but I missed the opportunity of a speaking part and a bigger part.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Well, you were a medium. You should have realized that was going to happen. Come on, Richard.
That's right. I'm a psychic medium, right? Geez.
Yeah, but you know what? People that I think are psychic, they might be psychic on everybody else but themselves.
Exactly. And sometimes I think I'm the worst psychic medium on myself than I can be. I go, "Oh, geez, Richard, you have 2 more years to live. Get your ass going and make an impression in this world." It's like, "Okay, God, you're giving me 2 more years and you want me to do something? What is it you want me to do?" Stuff like that. You wonder. I dealt with so many things in my life, and I know what it feels like to die, what it feels like to drown, I should say.
Well, I've never done either one, and you know what? I want to be 103 when it happens.
Well, thank God that when I did, I was in the water, and I was struggling. It was a bad current in San Diego at the beach, and I was under the water, and the current pulled me down, And I got stressed. I got afraid, like anybody else would. And after I was struggling, I heard a voice. I heard God tell me, calm down, relax, surrender, give up. And I did. And then after I felt my body being lifted up to the top of the water, and before I knew it, the lifeguards were there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was very fortunate.
Yeah, you know what happens? I read an article one time, when people drown, after a while they start, what kills you is when you start breathing the water like oxygen. You just can't, I don't know. I don't want to die at all. I mean, the only way I want to die is I want to die in my sleep. They better bury me face down, not face up, and they better have I don't know. Did you hear that story about the guy who was really rich? He was hoarding all this money for years and years and years, like in his house. And,
No, tell me.
He had hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And he told his wife in the will, and in fact was always telling her, I want to be buried with my money. I want to be buried with my money. And when he died, she goes, no, hell off that. I'm not going to give him the money. I'll just write him I'll write him a check, and we'll put the check in the coffin with him.
Oh, geez.
Could you imagine?
So that's what they did.
Yeah, that's what she did. I mean, she did the right thing. I mean, why would you want to give up all your money, to be buried with, a corpse? And let's face it, if he's buried with his money, who knows how long it would have been in that coffin in the first place?
I mean, being buried kind of scares me. I mean, if they were going to bury me with money, I would expect like what they do in the olden days, where they put you in the coffin, they put a little hole in it with a rope going down. Then on top of your headstone, they have a bell. That way, if you're accidentally buried alive, you can ring the bell for room service.
Well, going back, because my grandmother, she died when she was like about 89. But she was telling me when I was a little kid stories, from the old country. They came from Germany, Ukraine. Then her father brought the Mennonite church over in North Dakota, I believe. Anyway, she would tell me little horror stories, like she knew somebody in some village where they buried her, and they kept hearing for about a half a day or a day, like muffled screaming, coming out of the ground.
Wow.
So they dug up the coffin. Well, she was dead by then, but they said that she had no fingers left. She clawed her way, in that coffin.
Oh, man.
That when she said that to me, that scared me a lot. So, I mean, Can you imagine, also they think you're dead and they start embalming you?
That's not a good thing. I mean, I know some people that are alive that they try embalming, and they look better, but it's not a good thing.
One girl I was going to marry before I married my wife, I didn't realize her father owned a mortuary. And, we had our wedding, I knew at that point, she had the wedding invitations all printed up, and her mom had all this stuff out and was mailing out all the invitations. And all of a sudden, they had a family conference with me saying, well, you got to come into the business. And I go, ooh. What? You're going to learn from the bottom up to be a mortician and then all this stuff. And I go, you know what? I really love you, but I don't love you enough to do that. And that was the end of that relationship.
Oh, jeez.
No way.
That's pretty scary.
Yeah, he showed me what was involved when I saw that. No way. I want to make sure I am totally dead for a week before they even embalm me.
I have a friend. I mean, she's 96 years old, and she goes, Richard, when I die, I don't want to be buried in a coffin because I'm claustrophobic. And I go, your spirit is not going to be there. But in her mind, she still feels that she's going to be claustrophobic in that coffin. I mean, do you run across a lot of people that don't understand that concept or about death? I mean, that your spirit's gone, that you're free.
Yeah, it's just a body there. But, also back on the news about 6 months ago, Richard, there was a guy who worked in a mortuary. He decided, I guess he was a lazy guy from what I was reading. He decided to take a nap on a gurney. And, you know, to stay warm,